All right, guys, so today we're going to be doing the lab where we're looking for evidence of a chemical change, and this is the document that you will have online, of course, that you'll need to be filling out the information. So really quick, I want to talk about the objective. The objective, of course, is to investigate how evidence of chemical reactions indicate that a new substance with different properties are formed. Okay, so I'll have the materials listed for you. I'll go over them here in just a second. So what you're going to be asked to accomplish is writing down observations. So here in the first one, you're going to be counting atoms here for baking soda and counting atoms for calcium chloride, identifying what elements are in this chemical formula, and how many atoms of each element. Of course, that's a skill that you've already learned and we'll need to know again on the test on Friday. Then the instructions say to place the baking soda and the calcium chloride in a plastic Ziploc bag, which we will do right here. And then once we do that, I will show it on camera and you're going to make some observations and decide whether or not what's going on in the bag is a physical or a chemical change. Okay. At that point, we're going to look at the phenol red solution and write qualitative observations about that solution. Now, qualitative means describing it. So we haven't talked about this a lot, but qualitative with an L means to use letters or words to describe something. Quantitative with an N means you use numbers. So you're taking actual data on that. Okay. And then the next step is to pour the phenol red solution into the bag with the two substances. Okay. And then I don't know why it says water there, but we're going to close the bag and then we're going to make some observations about what color change was observed in the reaction. What was the evidence you observed showing that a chemical change occurred? And then it has the chemical equation right here of what we're doing in the lab. You're going to have to identify the reactants and the products, count the number of atoms, and also determine whether or not this is balanced and follows the law of conservation of mass. Okay, so the first step of this is to open up the Ziploc bag. Okay, make sure it's nice and open like that. Okay. And then the first thing we're going to pour in is the sodium bicarbonate, okay, which is baking soda. You see the box right there. It's a common household product that sometimes we put in our refrigerators in order to absorb odors, okay? And you can see here in the bag that it is a white powder. Let me make sure the bag is completely open, okay? So it is a white powder. It is a solid, okay? So these are all things that would be qualitative with an L, qualitative observations, okay? Now, if I said that there were 10 grams of this, then that would be quantitative with an N, okay? So here is the NaHCO3, the baking soda, in the Ziploc bag, okay? And then the next thing we're going to add into the bag is the calcium chloride. Okay, this is what we call anhydrous calcium chloride, CaCl2. It's right here. You can buy this stuff at Walmart, Target, wherever you want, damp rid. It's kind of a moisture absorber, so you can put it anywhere where there's excess water or humidity, and it will absorb water. Okay, so it'll even absorb water out of the atmosphere. So we're going to mix those two inside the bag. I'm going to go ahead and zip it closed, okay, and kind of mix it up a little bit. And so this is where you're going to make those observations now that the two substances are mixed. So you're going to be making some observations about that, okay? Do you see any evidence whatsoever of any chemical changes that are occurring when we mix these two chemicals, okay? So you're going to be writing down whether or not you think that I have created a new substance in the bag or whether or not I've just created a physical mixture of these substances in the bag. Okay, so So make sure that you pause the video and write down those observations as we go. Okay, so number 4 on your lab sheet is to write qualitative observations of phenol red. Okay, so this is an acid-base indicator solution that we can use to pour in or to drop into certain liquids to determine whether or not they are acidic or basic. Okay, so you need to go ahead and, after looking at this, on number 4 on your lab document, you need to be writing in what your qualitative, so you're describing what you see in this graduated cylinder for phenol red. Okay, so the next part is just to do the lab and go ahead and finish everything up. So before we do that, though, I want to make sure that you see the temperature right now. I've got a little temperature probe down here underneath the bag, and I want you to see what the temperature is of the substance that's in the bag right now, because we're going to check to see whether or not a temperature change occurs during the chemical reaction. Okay, and so when I mix these chemicals together, you're going to start hopefully seeing some evidence that a chemical reaction is occurring. Okay, and so you need to be mindful of watching for those pieces of evidence. And remember, the pieces of evidence that you're looking for are color change, you're looking for production of gas, you're looking for any temperature changes if those occurred, and you're looking for any kind of precipitate formed. Now, we're probably not going to see a precipitate in this experiment because we are not mixing 2 liquids together. Okay, so we've got 2 solids, and then we're mixing in a liquid with those 2 solids. And the liquid, the phenol red, kind of acts as a catalyst that kind of gets everything going, because you should have noticed already that there is no chemical reaction taking place inside the bag right now. Okay, and so what I'm going to do here in just a second is I'm going to pour the phenol red into the bag, and then I'm going to immediately zip the bag closed so that if there is any gas production, we can trap it in the bag. Okay, even though you might see more evidence of that as we go through it, I do want to try to trap any gas that is being produced during the reaction. Okay, all right, so here we are, we're ready to start. I've kind of zipped the bag about 75% closed so that when I pour this solution into the bag, I can quickly close the bag so that I can trap any gases. So remember, as soon as the liquid goes in, we need to start making observations about what you are seeing and noting those so that you can write those down on your lab document. All right, here we go. Okay, so you just kind of want to knead it around a little bit and make sure everything gets mixed up. And get all the phenol red down into the bag. Kind of mix everything up a little bit. Okay, so again, look closely at what you're seeing there. We're going to check the temperature here and see whether or not we're seeing any temperature change. And so you can see here, if you look at the screen over above my hand, that the temperature is rising. Okay, not a lot, but it is rising. Okay, I'm trying to get a little bit more mixed up. Okay, again, put the temperature probe around the bag right there. You can see now that the temperature is 84, 85, and rising there. Okay, and then if I kind of lay the bag down, you can see that, and let me move my phone a little bit. You can see that the bag is inflating slightly. Okay, so I've trapped any gas that's being made in there. Okay, And again, if I kind of roll it a little bit, you can kind of see that the bag did in fact create some gas, or the chemical reaction inside the bag actually did create some of the gas. Okay. All right. So again, what I want you to focus on again is making the observations of what you saw happen here. Okay. I'm not going to list them out for you. And then make sure that you answer the questions and finish the bottom section where you're identifying the reactants and the products of the chemical equation, identifying whether or not the equation follows the law of conservation of mass or doesn't follow the law of conservation of mass. All right, guys, let me know if you have any questions.